Here's a look at what's going on with UK government support for the property industry, but also business more widely, because it's fair to say there's not been a lot of direct support for the property industry from the UK government. There's been quite a lot of support for tenants and indirect support in terms of people staying in work, which has helped landlords. But looking at the macro measures that the government has in place, well, the furlough scheme to try and keep people's jobs open has been running for a number of months now. That's due to end at the end of October, and it's been a tapered end as well, with over the last couple of months things changing where employers need to meet more of the costs of retaining their workers, and the government support is tapering off. That's going to be replaced by the Job Support Scheme, which will run from the 1st of November and run for 6 months. And the idea behind the Job Support Scheme is that employers need to bring workers back to work for at least a third of their normal hours, and then the government will top up a third of their wage, and employers should also top up a third of their wage as well. So it's not so generous in terms of government support as a furlough scheme was, but certainly still some support to try and keep people in work, to try and encourage employers to get people back to work and hopefully stave off what people fear is potentially large-scale redundancies, as under pressure firms need to reassess their workforce as a result of the coronavirus crisis. Business bounce back loans and also the coronavirus business interruption loans have been taken up by a number of businesses across the UK. The government has announced that both of those schemes will stay open until the 30th of November. However, both schemes will close for new applications from the 30th of November as well. Now, business bounce back loans have been praised more widely than CBILS because of the easy qualifying criteria. Certainly a lot of funding has come out through the business bounce back loan schemes. Those are based on turnover, and they're based on the performance of the business up to the 31st of December 2019. CBILS a little bit more involved. At the outset of the CBILS scheme, there was criticism that it was more difficult to qualify for than a standard business loan from a mainstream provider. That's been cleaned up a little bit, and more businesses are uptaking the CBILS loans. If you are operating any sort of business in the UK that includes a property business, it's worth having a look at your options while these loans are available, remembering that both loans are underwritten by the government. They're quite favourable in terms of interest rates, and the idea behind these is to help businesses trade through this difficult period of time so that we don't have a whole lot of businesses kind of shutting down and having to lay off large-scale staff. So do make sure that you're taking advantage of these government support measures before they're withdrawn. The final things to touch on with government support is, as you may have seen, the UK government has announced a stamp duty holiday for England. That's mirrored in Wales and Scotland as well, although the rates differ slightly. I'll cover off the headline rates for England. Stamp duty removed on property purchases up to £500,000, which has created a little mini property boom as people take advantage of the lower transaction cost overall. Now, it's worth remembering that for people buying investment property or buying a second home, the 3% surcharge still applies, but there's still a big stamp duty saving there, and that's going to run through till March next year. The other thing the government has announced, which we're waiting to see the detail on, and those all-important vouchers issued for it, is the Green Home Grant that the government has announced. And this will pay for energy saving or energy performance enhancement measures for properties in the UK, ones that you own and live in, or investment properties as well. And the government will pay up to 2/3 of the costs of those measures for things like double glazing, increasing loft insulation, cavity wall insulation, external wall insulation. There's quite a few different things available. Now, they've been accepting assessments for the Green Homes Grant since the start of September. At the moment, the advice on the website is still saying to get quotes from reputable installers, and then there will be vouchers available towards the end of September. Well, at the moment, we're quite close to the end of September. The vouchers haven't been made available yet, but they are coming soon. This scheme is running until March next year as well, so it's worth having a look at if you've got any properties in your investment portfolio that maybe you can take from single glazing to double glazing, if there's any opportunity to upgrade any of your insulation in your properties that will improve the experience for your tenants. If your tenants are in receipt of benefits as well, the scheme is a little bit more generous. The standard scheme will pay up to 2/3 of the cost of these energy performance enhancement measures, up to £5,000. If the tenant in the property is receiving benefits, in some cases that will go up to £10,000. So worth looking at this and seeing if you can use it to enhance the energy performance of any of the properties in your portfolio.